Peace, 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 family. We're back with it once again. And your boy is in another surly mood. But no, I'm in a casual mood. It is February the 6th, 2022, and we are tuned in with the DOA TBM podcast. So we're about to get into it, and we're looking at this week some of the fallout from the Joe Rogan situation. First and foremost, we want to say definitely peace to India Irie, because if she didn't step up and maybe let her voice be heard and speak out, then maybe this would have continued. So we're gonna go see if we can find this clip, and this is India Irie, and she's speaking on the Joe Rogan situation. So a lot of people see that she asked Spotify to remove his music because of his racist disposition, language,
I want to leave a
tone.
short message here about why I decided to ask my music be pulled off of Spotify. So check this out.
Like, you know,
the thing.
yes.
Saying the word you've already said is just like saying she's calling you a like this boy that he's a and starts calling him word. There should be a word like, especially like the word that's our he says and there starts saying how to use the word not the word
Oh wow. So there we see.
I empathize with the people who are leaving for the COVID disinformation reasons, and I think that they should. I also think that Joe Rogan has the right to say what he wants to say. I also think that I have the right to say what I want to say. So as an artist who builds, Spotify is built on the back of the music streaming.
Right.
So they take this money that's built from streaming and they pay this guy $100 million, but they pay us 0.003% of a penny. Just take me off. I don't want to generate money that pays this. Just take me off.
So there we see a short clip. India Irie, she definitely talking the truth. And I don't know if any guys had seen those clips before, but absolutely shocking. Joe Rogan said to have used the N-word over 20-something times throughout his podcast tenure. Now, some say Spotify have removed the episodes with his questionable language. But, what do you guys think of this understance? There's been another one that surfaced with Joe Rogan speaking on how he compares black people to the Planet of the Apes. So let's see if we can check this one out. We posted this over on our Instagram, About the Online. So if you're on Instagram, go over to our Instagram and check that out, and you will see a lot more other related content. So can we see in this clip? And then we're going to show a short excerpt from his apology. So let's pull up one of these clips here where he's speaking about the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, I barely speaks English. He takes us there. We get out and we're giggling. Oh, here's the Planet of the Apes. We walked into Planet of the Apes. We walked into Africa. We walked in the door and there was no white people. What are you?
Dad's black, mom's white. Standard issue, pretty much.
Powerful combination genetic-wise, right? You get the body of the black man, and then you get the mind of the white man all together. It's a strange combination. That doesn't, by the way, mean that black people don't have brains. It's a different brain. Don't get me. What are you?
Yeah, so there we see one of his questionable clips speaking on Planet of the Apes. He said he went to the movies and he thought he was in the Planet of the Apes. He thought he was in Africa. So, that's absolutely separate to his remarks using the N-word. And as for the other stuff where he was talking about creating hybrids and all this stuff and, having the body of a black person, it does lead credence to the ideology that when it comes to miscegenation, they often want black people for their genetics and stuff like that. But even though he's saying not for the mind, he wants to keep the same mind, which is mentality. So that's an interesting one, because a lot of times when we look at miscegenation, or sometimes when we look at mixing and stuff like that, people say you're just able to produce the same mind, but with a different hue of skin. So that's quite interesting.
Very unusual.
But let's
word,
check this out.
But it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now, but for years I used it in that manner. I never used it to be racist, because I'm not racist. But whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you fucked up. It's a very unusual word, but it's not my word to use. I'm well aware of that now, but for years I used it in that manner.
So there we see this guy says it's a very unusual word, but it's not his word to use. So that's definitely quite an interesting apology that he's coming from. If it is an apology, he says it's an interesting word. He doesn't really go into where the word stemmed from or the meaning behind it, or even the meaning of why he used it. Recently in the media, Dog the Bounty Hunter was questioned about using the word, and he tipped his cap to Eminem and saying he thought Eminem could use it, so he could use it. And he said he had permission. He thought he had permission from the brothers, but we didn't even hear nothing like that from Joe. It wouldn't be the first time we've had somebody, utilize the word in a disparaging way. But I think it's become clear that within the confines of his podcast and of his broadcast, I don't listen. I'm not a listener, so he's obviously been having certain types of conversations that maybe not the whole world's going to hear, but only a certain type of people or demographic for the most parts are hearing. And, they're hearing that. And some of them, they're going along with it. So it's definitely dangerous that somebody has that mindset, especially with the power and the platform that he has, and continually uses it in such a divisive way. So speaking of divisive, Dwayne Johnson, also known as The Rock, has withdrawn his support for Joe Rogan after the N-word clips. So, apparently The Rock left some comments for perfectly articulated. I don't know if that's a show or something. And he's gone on to say, I was not aware of his N-word use prior to my comments, but now I've become educated to his complete narrative, learning moment for me. So Joe Rogan, who's 54, had been under fire in recent weeks for some of his other statements that he had made, mainly around the COVID vaccine and stuff. And then on Saturday, he responded to some resurfaced clips showing him using the N-word over 20 times. And he has since put out what I would consider a meager apology and saying that he regrets it. So after Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, withdrew his support from Joe Rogan, they say another journalist called Tim Pool shared a video of The Rock apparently making fun of Chinese people or something like that. So I think they're trying to be petty in the sense of throw shade and stuff like that, go backwards and forwards. But in terms of this Joe Rogan character, he definitely questionable. And I think in the position that he's in, it's definitely interesting because you think there's probably so many others that hold a similar mentality or look at things similarly to him. They have the same sort of thing. And then somebody's tweeted The Rock saying, have you actually listened to this man's racist statements about black people? And, we definitely want to say shouts out to The Rock, even though we know in the past he has said he doesn't identify as quote unquote black. He mixed black and Samoan. But cancel culture, they coming for Joe Rogan. What do you guys think? Was it an apology? Do you think it's a weak apology? Definitely let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now, myself, I won't be tuning in to any of his podcasts and shows. In terms of Spotify, I forthwith will be following suit with India Irie and others and looking at removing music from their platform. So it's a shame that these platforms, YouTube included, have such practices that are ill and cause harm unto others, and people are allowed to continually do it without being caught under the right fire. And then others, they just do one little thing, a mistake, a little slip up, and they're hung for it, they're crucified for it. And guys like this, they generally get a little slap on the wrist, or others look at it and jump to their defense and say, oh, well, he didn't really mean anything like that. Well, I find interesting because I know he got a huge fan base, and a lot of his fan base, they like hip hop, they like music, they like sports, all that sort of stuff. And some of them are the same people that, you might be friends with. You could be friends with them and they say they cool with you and stuff like that. But what I always find interesting is when matters like this arise, the silence that you get from the multitude and the masses of the people, even those that I'm not saying they have anything to do with it, but those that could use their voice to then speak out, especially if they're from the same demographic or group. Seldomly do they do that. They remain silent. They turn a blind eye. They act like, nothing's going on. I'd be remiss to think of the amount of people I've seen even post it on my own social media group that are non-black, that have just, condemned them and condemned the actions. I haven't really seen it from any. And even when I post about it, they kind of avoid those kind of posts and ignore them and stuff like that. So I think that's something to be explored. So yeah, just a quick news update on this one. I want to keep it short and sweet. Joe Rogan's apology. Do you feel he should have apologized? Do you think people deserve a better apology? And do you think platforms like YouTube, Spotify, and others need to do more to monitor the content that these people are producing? Is one thing, because when we come to think of it, there's a lot of us as creators who are constantly hit with blockades, who are inhibited, who have to jump through a multitude of hoops to get our content out and stuff. And it's always, being reviewed. And, sometimes we kind of put something up before it goes to they got to review it first and all that stuff. And guys like this, they seem to get a privilege to be able to just release what they wish without question. But one thing I'm saying, it's glad that he has been brought to some kind of account for it, and that people have, used their voice and called him out, namely India Irie, I'd say, her being the start of that, because as I said at the beginning, if she didn't do that, maybe we wouldn't even be having this conversation or anything like that now, and he would be able to continue doing the stuff that he was doing. So as I said, he's apologized. The clips are going around. I'm sure they will continue to still go around. He hasn't been the first person brought under fire for these kind of statements, and I'm pretty sure he won't be the last. So, do let us know your thoughts in the comments. Stay up, stay safe, stay woke. Always look out for you folks, and remember that in these times there's a lot of craziness, a lot of crazy people, but the truth gonna be revealed. And in time, the truth will definitely be revealed on who's who and what's what. Peace.